putting an end to identity politics. This is the Kevin Jackson Radio Show.
Ooh, I love these stories when black people got legitimate beefs. Welcome back, everybody. Kevin Jackson here. It's the KJ Radio Show. KJRadio.com. 844-551-8255. A black woman is suing Walmart for product segregation. She wants the products integrated. Roe v. Wade. No, that's abortion. Dred Scott. No, that's ownership of, let me see, integration. Civil Rights Act of 1965 for hair care products. Oh, man. Go to any store in the hood, and let me tell you what you're going to see. You'll see products on lockdown. That's right. In some inner city bodegas, patrons view the entirety of the store selection from behind plexiglass. I've never been in one of those stores. Actually, that's not true. There's one in St. Louis. You walk in, it gives you about 8 feet before you get to the counter, and everything is behind a counter that's got a plexiglass screen. Everything. I often wonder how that guy's store is going to do, because QT put a store about 4 blocks up from him. But before that QT store went in, he was the only game in, within, say, a mile. So he probably did pretty well. But I went in there, I honestly, out of curiosity, and I think I wanted to get like some chips or something for one of my kiddos. And I was like, okay. And that store was on total. I was like, wow. But I saw one where the entire store is behind plexiglass. There was no countertop. His had a counter, and then above the counter was plexiglass where he would hand you stuff through that little dip in the in the counter, or he could pass it through a hole that was in the top, depending upon what it was. And I just remember, didn't even think anything about it. Now, when I grew up, there was a store it was right across the street from church. I could never wait to get out of church because I knew I had a nickel, and I could run over to that little store and buy as much candy as I could. And the guy who ran that store, he loved it. Everything was accessible when I was a kid. You could run through that store. It was little, but you could get anything you wanted. You put it up to the counter, paid for it, and left. But nowadays, it's not that way in black community stores. There used to be I think it was called a Racetrack. It was a store called Racetrack, TRAC, and they had a store, and everything was behind the counter. It was another store in St. Louis. It was right at the corner. It was at the corner of 44 and Jefferson, and almost at the corner. There's a library at the corner. But people that know St. Louis know exactly what I'm talking about. And you would go into that store, and the people behind the counter had to get everything for you, just like that bodega. And I remember thinking, wow, this is mainstream here. Talk about an eye-opening thing that tells you live in the hood, is when you see a store like that. Because like I said, I'd never seen that. They took it down finally, probably because somebody complained. But the guy who runs that little bodega, same thing. He's got that. It's the same setup. Anyway, this black woman, she's wanting to sue Walmart over what she calls product segregation. And here's the story in Newsweek. A Southern California woman filed a lawsuit against Walmart on Friday alleging racial discrimination after she found that her local store was keeping beauty products marketed towards black shoppers and locked cases separated from other products. Essie Grundy, who is represented by Gloria Allred, said that she was told the policy of, quote, segregated beauty products at the Paris, California location was a directive from corporate headquarters. In a press conference, Allred said that the employees told Grundy that she would need to be escorted to the cash register with the products to pay for them. It perpetuates a stereotype that African Americans are thieves, said Allred. So I want you to imagine how Walmart came to this decision. Go with me on this. First, black leftists were indeed stealing these products. Second, in today's politically correct climate, you can bet Walmart saw this action as something of a last resort. So instead of understanding why Walmart protects these certain products, Grundy made these actions racist. This article says, Grundy, a mother of 5, said she was not allowed to touch the lotion she picked out until she had purchased it, making her feel like a criminal. She said she was buying a comb that cost 48 cents and didn't understand why the item was locked away, while other non-African American products that were more expensive were not. Oh, really? She couldn't put that logic together, huh? Allred didn't specify damages that Grundy is seeking, but the lawsuit demands that the practice be stopped immediately. And her research, by the way, didn't end with one Walmart. She went to other locations to see how they were doing things, and she says she visited 2 nearby locations and found varying but similar circumstances. Cosmetics for black shoppers were under additional surveillance with security cameras, while products marketed towards other ethnicities were not, she recalled. Videos and pictures circulated on social media after the news conference show that the locked boxes are featured in many locations across the country. Okay. And there's a reason why. I said it earlier. I gave you a hint. Black leftists are the biggest thieves in the country. They can get mad at me for saying it, but it's a fact. If those products were leaping off the shelves and Walmart were selling them in big numbers, they'd be wide open. Retailers protect themselves from what they call shrinkage. Now that's just another word, a fancy word for theft. And trust me when I tell you this, folks, I know the retail market segment fairly well. A large portion of this shrinkage or this theft is internal, meaning employees are figuring out how to steal from you. When you hire leftists, understand you've hired thieves. You've got a cancer inside of your business. They are looking for ways to take advantage of you. Shoplifting, though, is a big part of the bottom line. Loss prevention is what this all falls under, and they take all kinds of crazy measures for loss prevention. They've talked about RFIDs. You've got these, different things that beep when you go out of a store, all these different things, these mechanisms for loss prevention, including additional security cameras in the lot. Walmart responded. They said the company doesn't accept racial discrimination of any kind. They said we're sensitive to this situation and understand, like other retailers, that some products, such as electronics, automotive, cosmetics, and other personal care products are subject to additional security. Those determinations are made on a store-by-store basis using the data supporting the need for the heightened measures. While we've yet to review a complaint, we take the situation seriously and will address it with the court. Now, I'm going to tell you, they have sophisticated loss prevention models. Walmart bases its decision on transactional data. Now, let me tell you what that means. If I've got 50 hair care products of blacks, and when we do our recount, our inventory, I've got 10 of them, but I've only sold 10, I've got a 30 product discrepancy. And the only answer is shrinkage, theft. After a detailed analysis of the, quote, black products, I guarantee you Walmart's loss prevention team said, our black products have a tendency to not end up in the register. So we're going to put them under lock and key. And then we'll analyze the data. And you know what came back with the data? No more shrinkage. Now, was it internal? Don't know, don't care. Was it external? Don't know, don't care. What I can tell you loss prevention looked at is problem solved. They didn't arbitrarily select those products. Those products selected themselves. So, Grundy exacerbates a problem. Instead of blaming the real culprit, she blames the retailer. And Chris and I were talking, Harris and I were talking, and Chris said, man, I would go after a person like Grundy and Allred. I would ruin their lives. I would say to them, you're never going to get a nickel off of me. Because number one, you're wrong. And I'm going to make sure your life is miserable. I will spend $5 million to make sure you don't get a penny. And Gloria Allred, I'm going to put you out of business. Essie Grundy, whatever your name is, you're going to have a difficult time finding work. When my team is done with you for creating this frivolous lawsuit based on our business models, you and anybody like you is never going to come at Walmart again. I would make such an example of her and her attorney that nobody would want to sue me ever again. This is where you got to take the stance and say, I can put an end to this nonsense. This is not segregation of products. This is a Walmart showcasing a problem happening in America that black people don't want to admit to.
He won't stop until he's the top-rated radio talk show host in America.
What kind of weird competitive freak are you?
This is the Kevin Jackson Radio Show.